This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing upon. We know every part by heart. Overture, like the lights, the heights, and oh, what heights will hit. On with the show. This is it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. You know what that's from?
No.
That's the Bugs Bunny show.
Oh.
The opening number. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. And oh, what heights will hit. On with the show. This is it. The Bugs Bunny Show. You know, it was all so much simpler, Michael, when Bugs
Somehow
Bunny
I
was.
don't ever remember that song.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Wow. I believe it was introduced in the 50s, like the middle 50s or something. But when they actually went to the actual network show, that's what they used for the open and the close. And it was always funny because, you know, they would do this dance number out, and Speedy Gonzalez would be the last guy out, you know.
Bringing up the rear.
How are you, pal?
Pretty good. Pretty good today. How about
Good.
you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not, you know, I'm not tip top, but I'm okay.
You know, it occurred to me that we should change our contact information. I should give you Kristen's number and Kailani's number. You should do the same for Aaron and your sister, so we know where the other guy is.
Yeah. Do you know? It's funny. I think I'm pretty sure Aaron has your information. I don't know about my sister, but I'm pretty sure Aaron has your stuff. And I would think Kailani has my number. It hasn't changed since you worked at KDKA, so the same. Matter of fact, it hasn't changed. This is the longest phone number I've ever had. I've had this since 1997, I guess, or 1998, and so I'm coming up on 20 years, 30 years.
Wow.
I mean, my old I didn't have my old TW89281 was my phone number when I was growing up. When they used to have exchanges, Twining was my exchange. You remember yours?
Howard.
HO?
HO 461 5479.
Ah, that's yeah, 461 was a Marin. And then when I moved to San Francisco, boy, I had 821 for a while. I don't know what that was because it had gone to all numbers by then. But I miss those old exchanges. I had business cards, not the last time I had business cards printed up, but the time before that I had business cards printed up. I actually figured out what the exchange was for the number and put it on as I think it was 82 or something like that, my number before this one. And found that people would look at it and go, "How did you get such a strange phone number?"
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah, no freaking idea that all you had to do is. Anyway, just in case you just dropped in, he's Michael Knight. I'm New York Vinnie. We're Mikey and Vinnie.
It's a Freaky Fractious Friday.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We do this, and you know, some people say we actually do it well. Some people say we don't do it so well. And you know what? Screw them.
If we had the time, we would screw them all.
Well, you know, there's always going to be people that aren't going to be content with what you do, Michael. You've learned that from the time you spent in this broadcasting business.
I use Pete Hegseth as an example today of a man who, to end his frustrations and to deal with his anxiety and to try to influence those around him who don't have any faith in him, he fired his top general today. And he fired him because they're not getting along. The general wants to do general things and army things and war things and defense department things. Pete Hegseth just wants to jive around in his tight suit with a drink in his hand, and Kash Patel on hold. And it's an example of how badly this entire military effort is going for Donald Trump and his crew, that the Secretary of Defense wants to be called the Secretary of War. And in addition to that insult, wants to tell the top 4-star general that he's no longer needed. That if his idea of prosecuting a war is to argue with Pete Hegseth, that's the end of the discussion. And it is the word is eluding me.
It's a Broville. You know what it is? Pete Hegseth wants a Broville. You know, he wants all bros. You know,
he wants respect without earning it.
Right. He just wants to be loved and admired and listened to because he's a bro. You know, Pete Hegseth is Donald Trump. He's
Pam Bondi was Donald Trump for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Petey from the Bronx. He's a sports talk caller of not the intelligent kind, but the kind that just calls up and wants to rail on something for the sake of being heard on the radio.
Wants to fire the coach 1 week into the season.
Right, exactly. The guys that are calling up Fan right now and saying, you know, the Mets are done. They're this, they're that. They're cooked. That's Pete Hegseth. It's no long range view, no idea of what you're supposed to do, no listening to your people that know what they're doing, or at least have a better idea. I often refer to this, Michael. You know, a big fan of a guy that we are big fans of. He's left us now, but. You know, Bruce Blevins said to me many years ago. I asked him how you manage. What's the key of management? You know, how do you do the thing? Because he was such a good manager, knew how to move people and motivate people, and get people to do things without force. He was a quiet guy. You know, I mean, you'd see Bruce coming down a hall, and you know, with his suspenders going, and you'd respect him immediately.
You wanted to please him.
Yeah, surround yourself with good people and listen to them. Well, Mr. Hegseth there or Bro Hegseth, I should say, could use that lesson. Could use that, because when he makes a wrong decision, people get killed.
But the thing is, Vinnie, and we know this from all the people that Donald Trump has gathered around him, there is no way that he's going to make the right decision, come to the right conclusion, take all the information in and come to a professional step 1, step 2. He can't do that. And he doesn't want to listen to anybody. In fact, he does just the opposite. He just wants you to listen to him. He's got no interest in what you have to say or what you've learned or what your experience tells you or what should be done next. He wants to come up with that idea himself. And if you were to suggest something or try to help him come to the right conclusion, he would take offense, make you his enemy, turn against you, change the subject entirely to not what we were talking about, what to do about the war this week, but what I'm going to do about you, because now you have become a problem and you have become an element of my day. And that's not the way it's going to be. I am an element in your day. You mean nothing to me. The 4 stars that you earned and the leadership that you're part of has to be rejected, ignored.
And who does that remind you of?
That's Donald.
Yeah.
It's not Donnie from Queens.
Yeah. I mean, that's Donnie from Queens. Here's Pete from the Bronx. Yeah. You know, same shit, different color.
And you can expect them to go on and on. Apparently, Pam Bondi is telling everybody that she was under extraordinary pressure all the way through. Trump never took his foot off the gas, and what he wanted was for her to just prosecute the people that he put on the list, the hate list, the watch list, the
The enemies list.
Enemies list. Yeah.
Where have we heard that before?
And although she said to the press there was no and would be no enemies list in the Department of Justice when she was the Attorney General, that was a lie. And it fits in beautifully with all the other lies that she and Donald Trump have told. But the fact is, she knew that her job was contingent and dependent upon her doing extracurricular, extra legal prosecutions of Donald Trump's enemies. And that included a handful of people that he was still pissed off about from the trial in the Senate, the impeachment effort.
Yeah.
And he wanted revenge, and he's going to bring somebody in now who will give it to him, who will just say, I know it's illegal. That's the beauty of it. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm trying to please Donald Trump. He's my president. For me to do something illegal is exactly how I'm going to spend my day. I'll be the new Attorney General. I'll be great at this job because I've got no compunction, no hesitation to do what my Führer says. The Führer says no babies.
You know, it's so strange that you say that, my Führer, because as you know, I've been over the last few years really studying because I just see so many analogies to the Germans in the 30s and the 40s, and so many of the same things that you see in Hitler, you see in Trump. It's almost like he read the playbook. Probably
Yes.
did. Not hard to get or read. And you know, the not listening to your people and firing the ones that don't agree with you is the top line of the playbook. If you don't want to go out and put a bullet in the back of this guy's head, I'll get somebody that will. Somebody will do it. If you slip an extra $5 in their pay envelope, they'll do it. Or some of them will do it just for the glory of saying they did it for the Führer.
Certainly.
Well, same, no different with these cats. I mean, they're not shooting people in the back of the head yet, but there's not a lot of difference in the kind of loyalty that Donald Trump and those close to him exact. And what makes me laugh in some ways and makes me sad in other ways is that there's actually people that believe that he's going to be different for them. You know, it's like the domestic abuser. You know, he's gonna love me differently. He's gonna be, I'm gonna change him. Or the baseball manager that takes the troubled player and says he'll play right for me.
You'll see.
And then the guy goes on a rip and beats somebody up or does something. It's gonna change.
Speaking of baseball, the Giants and the Mets have started their all-important 4-game series. And the highlight of the fact that the Giants actually beat somebody. Sorry, it was your team, Vinnie.
Well,
but the star of the meeting was this new catcher that we've got, Daniel Cisak, and he went,
bless you,
3 for 4 in his first game as a Giant.
Yeah, and Robbie Ray had a great game, and looks like he's back, and that's somebody the Giants are gonna need. And the Mets are a hot mess at the moment.
Yeah,
the Mets are trying to find their way,
as are the Giants.
Yeah, but it's again. Oh, we're in the second week of the season, right?
Game 8.
Yeah. So not even really the second. I mean, you're in week number 2. So take it easy. What you see now is not going to be what you're seeing even in July.
The dog days are coming.
June. Yeah, there's just so much to go. Yes, so much to lay out. But it was just you know what? It was one of those games where I watched it and I just scratched my head and said, okay, I know there's a plan here, and it's gonna come, but this isn't their game. This isn't. This is just as. And traditionally for the Mets and a lot of back East teams, the first game of a West Coast swing or the West
little,
Coast swing,
little sleepy.
as it might be, is tough. A time change and this change and that change, and you don't think it should be because they get played to pay baseball, but it is, especially in a city like San Francisco where I'm sure that legions of fans are following them there, or on the team plane, or on how that goes, Michael. A ton of people, a family, and this and that, and this one's got to go to the zoo, and this one wants to sit. It's baseball in some ways becomes the last thing on their mind. So I don't know. I always give advantage home team to the first game, maybe two. But it was a good. If you're a Giants fan, the other side of the coin is nice effort. Good to see. Good. I mean, I'm excited
They
about.
finally awoke.
Yeah, guys that like CSAC, guys that break out and have a game. Because it always gets you thinking: is this guy for real? Are we seeing the birth of I don't know, the birth of whatever it is?
A starter catcher who can handle the pitching, but also presents with a bat that we can count on. And our current catcher is like the infielder that everybody talks about. What a great glove he's got. He's got a great glove. This guy is a fielder. He's all business. And what does he hit? 217 is what you can expect from him. Maybe 230, but nothing beyond that. It's just not in the stars. He's never shown himself to be a hitter. He is a ball player, and frustrating in that he brings his glove and he does his job on the field, and then you expect him to continue his what he owes the team by taking his spot on the order, taking his bat up to home plate, looking at the first pitch and looking at all of them, just standing there, not producing, not going to hit today, not going to hit tomorrow. And for a fact, you look at his record and his numbers, this guy's never going to be a hitter. There's no way. And he's catching for you every day. It just takes one man out of the lineup and puts in a predictable result instead of a threat to get a hit.
Well, I feel, one of the things that I missed last night in watching the game is, and I didn't realize how much I would miss him, but I missed Keith Hernandez, who has a back problem. He hurt his back walking his dog.
Didn't want to. He's got a big dog. Maybe he got pulled over.
But he's at that age where, if he was playing, you'd say, well, hangover. But he hurt his back walking his dog. So he's back in New York getting treatments, I guess, from what I read. And
didn't want to do a 4.5-hour flight.
Yeah, I mean, which is probably pretty good advice.
Yeah.
But you don't realize how much you miss a guy on the broadcast. I mean, right. Darling and Cohen are great by themselves, and Gelbs, I guess, filling in. But there's such a good radio show.
You miss the chemistry.
Yeah, that they're just boom, boom, boom. They're hitting back and forth. And Keith is just that kind of guy who he jumps in there at the right moment with the right thing. And when he gets to San Francisco, of course, because he's from San Francisco, he's got all these little tidbits about this guy and Father Joe from the peninsula and this guy and that guy. You want that? You want the Cappuccino High down on the peninsula? I mean, there's just, and for a guy, a San Francisco guy like me, a guy that spent a lot of time there, you hear him and you just hear all of these markers of old San Francisco when he's not, and when he was not there last night, I kind of missed him,
Sure
you
you
know.
do.
So I hope he gets well and he gets back and he's all right, and you know. But they got Friday night baseball tonight. It's another one of those nights where you don't know exactly. You got to do some detective work to figure out if the game is on, where the game is on. Um, who has Friday night baseball? I don't even know. Do you have any idea
I
who
do.
has who uh, has decided to show us?
Not out of the Bay Area. In the Bay Area, I know that they're streaming on the tube tonight and elsewhere on online devices. I don't know who's got it. I haven't heard a
Yeah,
word about it.
yeah, it's somewhere, but it's a. I think it's Apple TV, if I'm not mistaken. It has Friday night baseball, so I don't know if that means that you'll get it from MLB.com or you'll get it somewhere else. Again, the baseball has done the impossible. They've made their game hard to find, almost impossible to find, um, unless you're tuned into uh, the hipness of streaming.
And the Giants news service has gotten so horrible that they will write a headline to invite you to click 3 or 4 times to find out who the hell they're talking about. Giants player kidnapped by aliens taken to Mars for doubleheader. Well, who was taken? Well, we're not going to tell you who was taken. You have to click here and then click here and then click here and then read, and then maybe you'll get there. So they write everything the way you were taught not to write. Write a lead that tells everybody nothing. It's just a hook to get them to click. It has nothing, it may have nothing to do with the story. It may have nothing to do with reality, but write it that way to invite traffic. And the entire Giants news service is written that way. And it's infuriating, and I hate it. And I hate the person who came up with this idea. And I hate individual writers who write that way. And it flies in the face of everything that anyone has ever learned about journalism, where writing the lead is meant to invite you into the story with enough information for you to proceed or be interested in it. But if your shortstop gets taken by aliens in the middle of the night in San Mateo, and there's pictures of the craft landing and the aliens taking the shortstop onto their craft and leaving the area, and you write that story so that you don't have any names in it, what are you doing? Why are you going to such effort to make this impossible
To get you to click on
Yes.
on it, because that's where they make their money these days. It's no longer circulation, or it's no longer how many people are listening at a certain time. It's how many people are clicking, and then how long they're staying after you click, and whether they click through to something else. I mean, there's a whole science behind it that some young punks in some room sitting in a basement in New York somewhere invented. And matter of fact, I take that back. Probably not New York. Probably
Cupertino.
like Asheville, South Carolina, or North Carolina, I guess. Somewhere like that. That they can't afford to rent in New York, so they're sequestered in a basement somewhere, and they're coming up with different ways to get you to click through. And if you're 25 years old, you don't mind that, because that's what you've grown up with. But if you're 60 years old, first of all, they don't give a shit about you. Second of all, you're just waiting to die is their philosophy. Forget it. That's what you're doing. You're waiting to die. And they don't care if you click through, because there's nothing that they got to sell you. There's nothing that they're trying to get you. And you get it after one click. And you go away. You leave. You go somewhere else. You go somewhere like the New York Times, which even does their click through shit with the Athletic, where they don't have a sports section anymore. Now you got to go to the Athletic. But it's what we will leave. It's the legacy that we will leave. The legacy of frustration, where people get so frustrated as they are clicking through to get to subpar journalism. That's it. Now, if I was clicking through to a story that was written by somebody that I looked at and said, "Wow, this is a great story. I know a lot now." You're not getting that. You're getting some intern or something who's putting together a bunch of stuff from a press release
without names or details or any fact. Unknown met, missing in action.
Yeah. And that's what passes these days for journalism. And that's why so many of these other sites that are not true sites, that are fake news, that are that type of news, prosper, because people come across them and they're written easily for less intelligent people to understand and to grasp onto, and that's what you get. So you get the person that spends 10 hours a day on the internet looking at that and saying, that's got to be right, because it was easy for me to get to.
I wonder if the CNN and MS Now and Fox write their stories. For instance, the F-15 story this morning. U.S. Air Force F-15 jet went down in Iran. They went in to look for the pilots. They got one guy. They didn't get the second one. So the headline would read, 2 unknown Air Force people still at risk in Iran. And they won't give you the name of either one of them. Then they'll say that they collected one body and one survivor. They won't give you their names.
And or should they? I don't think they should give anybody's name. Does it matter who their names are to anybody?
Yeah, it matters to the story. Who, what, where, when, and how.
Yeah, but are they putting somebody else at risk? I don't know that I disagree with that. Are they putting?
Where's the risk if you're recovering a survivor and you got him? He's recovered.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. But
if he's at risk, you don't ever release the story. You never knew he was missing. You never knew the plane went down.
Well, but see,
that's Pete Hegseth and his press corps.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's it's an interesting situation. Do you give up the name? Do you give up? Now, maybe they're all safe, and that's a good thing, and you don't have to worry about their safety. But are you putting the safety of other people, operatives, just other people involved in the situation, at risk by giving their name? I don't know.
Then you don't release that story till enough time, enough information, enough intelligence has come in, so that nobody's life is at risk as a result of your story. That's another responsibility of journalism.
Right, but what goes with that? What goes with that clickbait stuff? We just talked about the clickbait. What's the biggest thing about it? Got to get the story out there. Can't hold on to a story. If you know something, you got to put it on the internet before somebody else does, or they'll get the clicks. I mean, that's Twitter journalism, right? Put it up even if you're not sure if it's true or not. So I wouldn't want to be in that position these days. It's a lot to have to figure out. And I think that you're right in that the old journalism should be the standard. The way that I forget the guy's name, but the style book that everybody had, the AP style book, and I forget, there's a guy from LA, right? And everybody studied that his style book, the way he wrote, his style of writing, his method, I guess. He was the He was the Lee Strasberg of journalism. And look it up, kids, Lee Strasberg. Anyway, so it's but they're all in such a rush to get it on first.
Breaking news.
Yeah, you
I
got
had a program director that said, you don't use the phrase breaking news enough. And I said, well, are we going to use it in relationship to actual breaking news? Because if there's a breaking news story that I'm not aware of, I apologize, but we don't have any breaking news in our lineup today. He said, something's got to be breaking news. I said, here's what you can do. You can do what television does and call every news story that breaks breaking news. Every new development becomes a breaking news story. In fact, it starts every segment. It starts every segment that they do. The big thing rolls up full screen, white letters on a red background, breaking news. And the breaking news that they're talking about is the story they've been covering all morning. So in other words, it's not breaking news. It was breaking news 3 hours ago.
That's a good way to
Now
keep
it's
a
just
job.
a headline. Now it's just the first story. It's their top story.
No wonder you don't have a job.
No longer breaking news. And the idea that every segment opens with breaking news tells you that it's not breaking news. It's just news.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, breaking news is
Remember the feeling you got watching you're watching an afternoon
it's a
show.
phrase that means nothing anymore. I mean,
a slide comes up and says, "This is a special report from NBC News." You go,
right. Used to mean
what the fuck happened? What the hell happened?
It was well, and you know what? To be honest with you, CNN is the one that really kind of pissed on that.
Yeah.
CNN kind of, everything was breaking news. A day after it happened, it's breaking news.
Yes.
No, a day after it happened, it's not breaking news anymore. The news broke yesterday.
An hour or two after it happened, it's not breaking news.
Right. They should, there should have been, and if they were being honest, it would have been a graphic that said advancing the story. Yeah. Telling us more about what happened yesterday. But that's not as exciting. Their anchors can't get as excited about that. They can't have a newsgasm while they're delivering it. It's not.
And can you tell me what Erin Burnett on CNN is talking about when she calls her show Out Front? Out Front today. It's just a phrase that she puts into every explanation of what she's talking about. It's time to go to.
It's time to go out
New York for a report on the stock market. Stock market is up and the stock market is down. Out front today, here's our report on the stock market. Out front of what? Out front where? You're not in front of anything. You're not even out in front of the building. What are you talking about? Why is everything out front? And what does that mean?
Boy, I got some opinions about Erin Burnett, and I'm probably not going to say them here.
Okay.
I don't know that she, I don't get her. I don't get the attraction, well, no, I get the appeal. I don't get the intellectual attraction. She's millions of guys are watching her because she's hot in that girl next door kind of way. But as far as intelligence and
she is not
perspective on the story and stuff, give me 5 minutes of Christiane Amanpour over 2 hours of Erin Burnett.
Right.
I'll just gain so much more from her because she has a depth of understanding. Now, Erin may have the same thing. Don't get me wrong, but she doesn't project it in the same way that
she's busy. She's busy being out front.
Right. Well, that's it. She's so worried about branding the show, as most of them are. As their orders are. I mean, their marching orders seems to be the show branding matters above anything else. Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room.
That at least
There's no fucking Situation Room.
He's in the
You're not
same
in the
room as everybody else.
situation room.
You're in the studio.
You're in the bathroom. If you go into that building and go back 20 years, you're probably in a room that used to be the bathroom. Look at the floor. You'll probably see the hole for the toilet in there somewhere. But it's all illusion. You know, it's the great it's television now taken to the extreme. You know, it's the knothole gang. You know, no, they didn't stand at defense, but they made you think they were standing at defense. It's romper room. You know, it's just how they brand it.
Mr.
I guess.
Science. Gosh, Mr. Science, that's fascinating.
Yeah. You know, he's in the studio like everybody else. If you turn the studio like this, it's Sonny Fox's studio. You know, it's I mean, see, that's the thing about the media is we can go on. The media is so screwed up these days. But the bottom line is you know, and I know all too well, is that it's not about presenting facts. It's not about presenting stories. It is about getting clicks, getting people to click on whatever you're doing. It's about, you know, getting somebody to get somebody else to get somebody else to click on it. So you turn the one click into 3 clicks. Hey, look at this. And hopefully those clicks pile up. Look at YouTube. I mean, spend a couple of days studying YouTube and you'll really see it. You know, and on top of it, there's no accountability. There's no I don't know. There's nobody saying, "Well, that's wrong," and that's the thing that the barons of the internet have given us.
You can be wrong on the internet. There's no accountability. Nobody's going to hold you responsible. No one's going to care in 20 minutes whether you're right or wrong.
Right. There's a commercial that's running right now on YouTube for cherry trees. It looks like they're cherry trees that are grown in China. And there is and the idea is send us, they don't even tell you how much the tree is in the ad. Send us click on this thing and give us your credit card number. We'll send you a cherry tree. And this cherry tree is supposed to you're supposed to plant it in April, which is now, and it'll yield your first cherries in May, which I believe is a physical impossibility.
Did you say which May?
No, they don't say which May. The cherries are supposed to be ping pong ball sized cherries. Now, I don't know about you. I've been eating cherries for a long freaking time. It's my favorite fruit. I mean, I literally go into ecstasy when cherry season comes around.
You're not that far from the cherry capital of the planet, and that's Wenatchee.
I'm right close. It's not beyond me to get in the car and take a ride up to Wenatchee Valley there and stop at a cherry stand on the side of the road and pick up a couple of bags of cherries.
And they have some farmers who deal with the high-end Asian market, and they sell individual cherries, individually wrapped, and those are the big ones that are.
Yeah. Now they may be ping pong ball sized cherries. I don't know.
It's a bit large for a cherry, but getting close.
Yeah. So, and then these cherries that they're sending are supposed to give you a couple of tons of cherry yield. A couple of tons.
Wow.
That's 2,000 pounds a ton. For those of you who may have left school a bite early.
Or Pete Hegseth.
3 times a year.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they go into the cherries' medicinal qualities. which is absolutely where the line should have been. If nothing else, the line should have been drawn at, well, it'll do this for you, and it'll cure this, and it'll do that, and it'll do this, and the voice track of the ad doesn't match the people that are speaking at all. And there's a tagline in it in Chinese, or what I think is Chinese. I'm not even sure. Anyway, this ad is everything that's wrong with the internet, all wrapped up into 60 seconds. It lies in several places. It falsehoods in several places. It's fraudulent in several places. And there's no stop to it. There's no accountability. There's nobody that's going to put the brakes on it. So
anybody who knows anything about cherries knows that if you have a cherry tree, that's a good start. But if you're in the wrong climate, you're not going to get any cherries off that tree.
Right.
You can't
They're
just
telling you that your deck will, my deck here in Edmonds, Washington, that if it's lucky, gets a couple hours of sun a day as the sun peeks through the buildings.
Cherry grown sun breaks.
That I'll be having trucks backing up here, loading cherries up into matter of fact, if I buy 3 or 4 of these trees, I might qualify for a federal assistance as a farmer.
You'll be feeding the Western world with your tons of cherry production.
Right. But yet, people buy this crap. People will go on and they will buy it and send, I don't know, I'm going to say that they're probably hit you for $59.95 for a tree. I mean, if I went down to the local nursery here would actually sell cherry trees, I'd have to think that that's probably around what you're going to pay, maybe more. I think I saw them at Costco for $79 or something like that. Anyway, but it's just the idea that there's that, and then there's another one with the Tai Chi challenge, the sitting Tai Chi challenge, where they have people who are older Asian men sitting around telling you if you sit in a chair and do Tai Chi in a chair, that you will be, your abs will be ripped in 30 days. It's the 30-day Tai Chi challenge. And we're so freaking stupid that there's people that believe it, because if nobody believed it, it'd be off the air in a week. But evidently, this advertising is working for them. And there's nobody that's going up against them saying, wait a minute. You can't add now. In the old days, if you had the FCC or you had this or you had that and it had any balls, you couldn't go on network television with an ad like that. And if you did, you'd be good. But these guys on the internet enjoy immunity, enjoy this invincibility. We can put anything on. You're supposed to be smart enough yourself to figure it out. Maybe that's right, Michael. Maybe you're supposed to be smart enough, but so many people aren't. You're supposed to be smart enough to figure out the financial crisis where you lost your house because of predatory lending for yourself. But you couldn't. You're supposed to be smart enough to figure out, if you're black, that you weren't wanted in that neighborhood, and that they were actually doing things to keep you out of that neighborhood. They were redlining you. But could you without the help of the government? No, because the government had policies that allowed it to happen. They offered protection to the bankers and to the charlatans that instituted those type of policies, and resulted in, let's face it, in ghettoization. I mean, I hate to go from cherries to ghettoization, but it's kind of the whole root cause of it.
Any product can be the focus of the type of advertising you're talking about, the type of claims being made, the type of chicanery being exercised, and the type of profit that they hope to gain from selling you a bag of goods, a cherry tree from China. And it's just the opposite of China. If the Chinese could grow cherry trees that were that productive, they wouldn't have to buy them from Washington, which is their
They
number
wouldn't be
one
going to
customer.
Wenatchee, that's for sure. Nobody
It's
would
the
go to
number one
freaking
customer,
Wenatchee that didn't have
China.
to.
Right. And Donald Trump with these tariffs and his taxes and his insanity has single-handedly tried to destroy that entire market. The high-end cherry production and sales from Washington State to Japan, Southeast Asia, China is a huge market. And Donald Trump has done his best to decimate it, to ruin it, like he's done everything else. And the reaction today is going to be interesting to see what the U.S. does about this F-15 that was shot down. One, why are our planes being shot down by the Iranians? We were told that the airspace was ours, that there was no counter punch from the Iranians, that there was not going to be any more war in the air. We could fly where we want, do what we want, and land where we want, and bomb who we want. There was nothing they could do about it, except, of course, shoot down the jet that we're talking about. And that's what happened today. And the explanation for that is yet to be offered. We haven't gotten a readout on how that happened and what that crew was doing and why they were in a place where that obviously they didn't expect anti-aircraft firing, anti-aircraft efforts to take them out of the sky, but that's what happened. And shooting down an F-15 is not that easy.
No, it takes a lot. You got to be. It's not. You don't just take a shotgun and blow some buckshot into the air. You gotta have some pretty sophisticated stuff.
Yes.
To shoot one of those down. Well, because like everything else, it's all bullshit. It's all except for the people that are dying, except for the dead bodies that are coming back. It's all bullshit. It's this whole, the same people that voted for Donald Trump are the ones that are getting their asses kicked because they can't sell the cherries. But they couldn't see that. They were so worried about having a black woman in the White House that they couldn't bring themselves to doing the sensible thing and voting for somebody who wasn't going to destroy the country. And they believed a huckster's bullshit. And when you believe a bullshitter, eventually, what happens?
This event today will be blamed on Joe Biden somehow, blamed on a Democrat, will be blamed on something out of the control of Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth. They couldn't possibly have known, couldn't possibly have dealt with this. And as Donald Trump has now become famous for saying yesterday or the day before, we can't conduct this war and run a country and still do Medicare or Medicaid. We can't do any of those offerings. We can't do it. Why would anybody expect us to do it? You got to do that yourself. You got to carry all that load yourself, and the states will be responsible. But don't ask us to be able to do Medicare and Medicaid. We can't do it and conduct a war. We can't do it. It's just too much for us.
Too much for you. Too much for him. Too much other people. I mean, Roosevelt conducted freaking World War II. And people still got whatever at that time much more meager benefits, but yet they had some benefits. People still got what they needed to get. So don't give me this crap.
And they had the benefit of a president who was engaged in their future and in these efforts that were going to benefit the nation.
Who had just come off of the greatest program that the world had ever seen of rebuilding an infrastructure and and taking a nation that was at its lowest point in its history. And I'll include the Civil War in that because this really, people were starving. and brought it up and gave it a purpose and gave it a feeling that we are not out of the woods. We're not sunk. That we have people and the will and the power if we just direct our resources in the right place. But these clowns have no idea where to direct. Not that I do. Not that I'm smart enough to know where to put everything.
And you
But
think that they're building F-15s to take the place of these? No, they're not. Are they restocking their armaments with all the missiles and drones that they've used in this war? No, they are not. They can't stay organized. They can't stay on target. They can't stay on message. They can't achieve their goals. They can't prosecute a professional modern war. These guys have shown themselves to be so incompetent that that Pete Hegseth has to be firing generals to stay in power, to maintain his own level of bulletproof, the nature of a bulletproof administration. They have to operate not in the best interest of the nation, but in the best interest of themselves. And that means eliminating anybody who's got anything to say about their performance that's not in line with their preconceived beliefs. And that's Pete Hegseth all over the place. That's why he had to fire that 4-star general. That's why now we have a weaker military as a result of that in the middle of a war. It's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to what we said before. This guy is a joke. He's a bro. He's, Colin Jost, I should say, from Saturday Night Live, nails him so well. He's a bro. He's a talk show host that happened to have the president for a friend. And that's what he is. We don't have an accomplished professional running our military. We have a guy that was a friend of somebody and got the job.
Like, we don't want a professional. We want a loyalist.
Well, we want somebody that's gonna. Yeah, we want somebody that we don't care if he knows what he's doing. We just care that he'll do what the king says. And that's not a good combination for this country.
Not the Department of Defense, no.
In the place that we're in at this time in this place, not very good. Not very good at all. And it's gonna come back to bite us, Michael. It's gonna, it is already.
It already has.
But it just seems like it's every day. It comes back.
Another outrage, another insult to our intelligence. Vinnie, I hate to change the subject, but what are you driving? What are you driving this week?
Gee, it's funny you should ask.
The Tiguan.
The Tiguan be gone. The Tiguan has left us. I love that Tiguan, man. I love the name of the Tiguan. What that was a great call. We'll talk about that more on
Vinnie. Don't count those EVs out just
drive time
yet.
Tomorrow.
Style, power, class.
Somebody's got a Lexus.
Affordability.
But we got a Lexus this week. This is a Lexus 550E RZ 550E F Sport, and again, it's probably the fourth time in the last 6 weeks that I've had an electric car. And I think that's an omen that says that they're, don't count the electric car out just yet. I know people, it's popular too, but with gas climbing steadily, and I believe we have not seen the worst of what is going to come as far as gas prices. These cars are becoming more and more popular, but also more and more cost effective to drive. And the reason for that being is that you can get them at in many cases, at a good price, at a discount, at a price that will that will be better than its comparable gasoline car. But this is the 550E F Sport, a high performance version of this RZ series. And it's got the F Sport stuff on, styling stuff on it, obviously. Lexus does this so well. Their interiors are so classy, so great. All the materials are of top quality. The comfort in the seats, you sit in this car and you just feel very comfortable and bolstered with the seats and the way that their seat designs are. It really is one of the most comfortable cars you're going to get into. As far as the interior, the big panoramic roof doesn't open up as a sunroof, but it has that photo electric cell that you can change it from a dark roof to a lighter roof if you want the sunlight to come in. As I said, electric, so it's quiet. Probably one of the more quietest cars I've driven. Dual motor all-wheel drive system in this thing that gives you, boy, I think it's about, well, it's over 400 horsepower. I think it's about 400 well, I'm just going to say 400 to 410 horsepower out of the two electric motors. I haven't checked it for range yet, but I know it's at full charge. You probably get about 250 out of it, between 2 and 250 if you're normally using all of the stuff. I love when Lexus puts a first aid kit in the back of the car. They've been doing that for years. And it's, as you can see, for a midsize SUV, it's roomy. It's got space to haul stuff if you want to haul stuff. It's got comfort for people if you want to haul people. And as I said, the electric motors in this thing, quick charge, get the job done. That's the great thing about this car, is it gets the job done. It's the most powerful RZ model that Lexus has put out so far. And again, these electric cars, I think right now, Michael, they're great buys, because the tax incentives have gone, but you could make up that tax incentive in what you'll save in a more stable electric price over time. Now, electric's going to go up too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not foolish enough to believe that electric's not going to go up at some point here.
Because everything is going up.
Yeah, because everything's going to go up. I mean, we haven't seen what's going to happen yet as far as this, but you want to be prepared.
Yeah.
You want to be prepared. And I think the electric car, because the one great thing about this car is, if a gas crisis comes, and nobody talks about this, if a gas crisis comes, if you can't get gas, if there's an oil crisis, if there's a situation, you take this car, you back it into your garage, or you take it to your friend's house, or you go to a charging station and you charge it up. And you don't need to sit in a gas line. You don't need to worry about gasoline. And forget about new ones for a second. If you want to go buy a used one, there's great deals to be had too right now. Now, we'll see how this progresses. The other thing that's really interesting too is Tesla has noted a gain for the first time in months in sales. They're actually selling more Teslas again, because people are starting to worry about this. And we're going to talk about that a bit more
tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Yeah. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock drive time. 11
o'clock tomorrow.
Every Saturday.
So, yes, Saturday. It's I'm a big fan of Lexus. I'm a big fan of Toyota, who makes Lexus. They make the best cars right now. No getting around it. They're just solid vehicles, the electrics they've really kind of put their money and their mouth into hybrids, but when they do electrics, they do them right.
Right.
and they give you the opportunity to do, to buy a car that you can have faith in if it's an electric car.
It's going to
You buy a
last. It's going to
Toyota,
run. It's going to
it's
start.
going to run. It's going to work. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be showing that off tomorrow as well, and getting into that a little bit more. But that's the Lexus RZ. I think, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how anybody's going to afford a new car these days, to be honest with you. But if you're going to drive one, if you're going to buy one, this is probably what you should be looking at. One of the cars that you should be looking at.
Okay, Vinnie, we'll see you tomorrow at 11.
I will be there tomorrow at 11.
We'll be here Monday at 10:10.
Yes, we will be. And you have a good weekend, Michael.
Going to have a quiet weekend, I think. Kids are still in Hawaii, so there'll be no baseball, but we'll get to that. I'll have the Mets and the Giants to worry about.
We'll have the Mets and the Giants, and we'll see Monday if we're still talking. It's a 4-game series, right? Is it a wraparound?
Yeah, we've had one tonight's game 2.
Yeah, so we'll still have at worst, well, one of us will be 2-1 up on the other one at least, or 3-0, and if that's the case, I won't be here Monday. I'll be hiding.
Be in retreat. Rereading Can Anybody Here Play This Game by Jimmy Breslin.
It gets a read every year, whether I need it or not, man. All right, Michael, listen, as Tiger Woods said, I'm on the phone with the president. What a lapdog. All right, take care of yourself, and I'll see you on Monday, all right?
See you, Ben.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself. That's Mikey. I'm Vinny. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on Monday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Mikey, peace, love. Manischewitz. What a wine. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye now.